Brazil. It's just 2 races that remain, and the question is, can Nico Rosberg maintain his championship points lead and win his first world title? F1 Brazilian Grand Prix. That's coverage Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Take a look at the chase grid and where they're running in this practice. You've got Kenseth, Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards, Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch. They're all in the top 10 right now. Kurt Busch, Joe Logano, and Kevin Harvick outside that top 10.
Yeah, so you start at the top of the list. It's very simple. Kenseth, Hamlin, and Edwards all came with the same agenda. They're in qualifying trim. Decent runs inside the top 6, maybe not as fast as they want to be, because as cars swap over to qualifying trim, I'm not sure those laps by Hamlin and Edwards will keep them inside the top 10.
Yeah, then you have Jimmy Johnson. He also was in qualifying trim. Then we go from there. Kyle Busch, Joe Logano, Kevin Harvick, they all have been in race trim. They've stuck to race trim. They came out right off the bat. This is Kurt Busch's very first qualifying run, and he moved up to second. So different philosophies on what they were going to do. Obviously, some wanted to work on race trim, some wanted to work on qualifying trim. Kurt Busch, he did both. He got to work on race trim, and then he went to straight qualifying trim, and in doing that, he went ahead of Kenseth, Hamlin, Edwards, and Johnson, who had been working only in Q trim. So advantage Kurt Busch.
Steve, is 90 minutes too much time for these drivers before qualifying? Would you think that maybe would amp things up a little bit if they maybe only made this first practice 60 minutes?
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy, because I wouldn't give him 60 minutes of practice all weekend. So I'm serious, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, these are the best drivers in the world. You go to Saturday night short tracks all across the country, you might have 15 minutes of practice. So I think 60 minutes of practice is a little too much.
Good point. Very good point. And again, they're getting 90 minutes now in this session.
So, Rick, I want to go back to Mike reported Jimmy Johnson, that awesome helmet he's been carrying with the King and Richard Petty on it. He swapped over now to this sign, and you see it a lot on social media, especially from Jimmy Johnson, says 7, with the V changed out for this neon 7. Well, it kind of has dual meanings. Without a doubt, 7 is very important to Jimmy Johnson because he's going after a 7th championship, but that's not really the only reason, probably not even the primary reason. So the story is, Rick Hendrick's son, Ricky Hendrick, one of the 10 that were killed in the plane crash in 2004, drove a late model with the number 7. It was the neon 7. And he actually wrote 7 out like this, replacing the V with the 7. And a few years ago, OAR, which is actually Little Ricky's favorite band, was playing at a Christmas party, and Jimmy said it just hit him. That it had so many different meanings, not only to the family, to him personally, what they were trying to do, that what better motivation than branding his helmet, and he's used this hashtag for a long time. This isn't new, but this is the first time I've seen it personally on his helmet. So sometimes things just kind of align. Something that's very important to Jimmy Johnson, very important to the entire Hendrick Motorsports family. Probably not a more appropriate time than now to honor a good friend of a lot of ours, Ricky Hendrick, and something that was dear to him and really dear to everyone at the entire company.
Stories that came out just yesterday in the Sprint Cup world is that 28-year-old Brian Scott will retire at the end of this season. So 2 races remain for Brian Scott. He put a message out there letting everyone know that the reason was he has a huge passion for the sport, but the reason was, and Steve, you can definitely appreciate this because you made a big transition in your life for really the same reason, was his family. He wanted to be able to spend more time with his family and do more things with his family. And this is a very grueling sport when it comes to time management because it's not a 36 race sport. It's not a 36 race season. It is a year-round sport. It's a year-round season for these drivers, these teams, these crew members, because it goes from the very first race of the year all the way around, not only to the last race of the year, but then there's testing and everything else that goes along with it. So very time-consuming.
Yeah, and you have to be all in. If you're going to go out and outrun, say, Greg Biffle in the 16 car, you can't kind of sort of want to be in it. Right, Jeff? I mean, you have to be all in. And I ran into Brian Scott this morning, sitting behind his hauler, and I didn't have a chance to talk to him a lot, but we spent 2 or 3 minutes, and, to be honest, he looked pretty peaceful. Very calm with his decision. It's something that seems he had taken some time to decide. And at times, you have to do what's right. As much as you and I want to win races, Jeff, at some point, there are things more important than winning races.
Yeah, and listen, I know drivers make a lot of money, and there's always talk about, well, you don't feel bad for them, and I'm not saying you should feel bad for them, but what your point was, is you have to be all in. Everything has to come second. And you miss the little things. You miss the baseball games. You miss all those things that your kids are involved with. I'll tell you that my kids grew up, and I missed the majority of all the things that were important to them. I missed it. And that's the way it works. You can't be halfway in. And, if it's not what you want in your life, if it's a 98 car way up the racetrack,
Yep.
If that's not the things you want in your life, and that doesn't make everything work for you and your family, then it's not right for you.
And it's everybody making that same commitment, not just the driver or the chief. It's everyone.
It's everyone.
The engineers, everyone that puts all the hours in to make sure that these teams are as good as they are. Again, first practice for Sprint Cup Series from Phoenix continuing.